Long ago, the world had grown very corrupt. People had turned away from what was good, filling the earth with violence and wickedness. God looked at the world he had made and was deeply grieved by how far humanity had fallen. Yet, in the midst of all this darkness, one man stood out. Noah lived a righteous life and walked faithfully with God. God spoke to Noah and told him that he was going to bring a great flood to cleanse the earth of its evil. But God also promised to save Noah and his family. He gave Noah very clear instructions to build a large ark, a massive wooden vessel that would float above the coming waters. God told Noah to bring his wife, his 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and their wives into the ark. He also instructed Noah to gather animals of every kind, male and female, so that life on earth would be preserved after the flood. Noah trusted God completely. Even though rain of this kind had never been seen before, Noah obeyed everything God commanded. For many years, he built the ark exactly as God had instructed. When the ark was finished, the animals came to Noah just as God had said. Pairs of animals entered the ark, along with birds and creatures that crawl on the ground. Once Noah, his family, and the animals were safely inside, God himself shut the door of the ark. Then the rain began. Water poured from the sky, and springs burst forth from beneath the earth. The floodwaters rose higher and higher, covering the land and even the highest mountains. Everything outside the ark perished. For 40 days and 40 nights the rain fell, and the waters remained on the earth for many months. But inside the ark, Noah, his family, and the animals were safe, protected by God's care. In time, God remembered Noah and all the living creatures with him. He caused a wind to blow over the earth, and the waters began to recede. Gradually, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. Noah waited patiently, sending out a raven and later a dove to see if the land had dried. When the dove returned with a fresh olive leaf, Noah knew the waters were going down. After more time passed, the land became dry. God then spoke to Noah again, telling him to come out of the ark with his family and all the animals. As they stepped onto the renewed earth, Noah built an altar and offered a sacrifice to God in thanksgiving. God was pleased and promised that he would never again destroy all living creatures with a flood. God blessed Noah and his sons and told them to fill the earth once more. As a sign of his promise, God set a rainbow in the sky. Whenever the rainbow appeared, it would remind both God and humanity of his covenant, that the earth would never again be destroyed by a flood. And so, through Noah's faith and obedience, God preserved life and showed his mercy, faithfulness, and commitment to his creation. This wasn't just a survival story, it was a divine reset. A moment when judgment met mercy and obedience rewrote the future of the world. While chaos swallowed everything outside the ark, calm floated within it. One man's obedience outweighed a generation's rebellion, proving that faith can be louder than a corrupt world. Imagine the silence after the storm. The same earth that once echoed with violence now breathed again, washed clean by the flood. Every step Noah took outside the ark marked a new beginning. The air was fresh, the ground renewed, and hope was alive again. God had not abandoned his creation. He had rescued it. Then came the rainbow, stretching across the sky like heaven's signature. It wasn't just beautiful, it was powerful. A public promise from God himself. A reminder that even when humanity fails, God remains faithful. Every color declared mercy. Every ark shouted grace. Every appearance said, "I keep my word." Noah's story reminds us that righteousness still stands out, even when the world falls apart. That obedience may look foolish at first, but it always leads to salvation. That when God speaks, listening can change everything. The ark wasn't just made of wood, it was built with trust. And that trust carried life through the storm. This is the story of a God who judges sin, but protects the faithful. A God who brings storms, yet always prepares an ark. A God who closes the door for safety, opens the earth for new beginnings, and paints the sky with promises that will never fade. The story of Noah and the ark is about God judging a corrupt world while showing mercy to those who obey him. When humanity turned to evil, God chose Noah, a righteous man, and instructed him to build an ark to save his family and pairs of every animal from a great flood. Noah trusted God and followed his commands, and when the flood came, God protected all who were inside the ark. After the waters receded, God gave the world a fresh beginning and sealed his promise with a rainbow. assuring that he would never again destroy the earth with a flood. The story highlights obedience, faith, judgment, mercy, and God's unchanging faithfulness. The story of Noah and the Ark concludes with a powerful message of hope and responsibility. It shows that even in times of great corruption, faith and obedience still matter to God. Noah's willingness to trust and act on God's word brought salvation not only to his family, but to the future of all living creatures. The rainbow stands as a lasting reminder that God is faithful to his promises and merciful even after judgment. Ultimately, the story calls us to walk faithfully with God, trusting that obedience leads to protection, renewal, and new beginnings. Kindly subscribe to my channel for more Bible stories and verses.